Alal Shik, a prominent Saudi Arabian boxing broker, has played a crucial role in the recent surge of high-profile boxing events. Recently, Sheikh was highly enthusiastic about orchestrating a mega fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, viewing it as a monumental event that could elevate
To the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it.
So just so we're clear, so everyone understands, you've already sent an offer to Canelo to fight Terence Crawford if Terence Crawford wins tonight.
But if he doesn't, I want Ortiz.
You want Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz versus Terence Crawford.
Take the sport to new heights. However, Canelo has dismissed the idea, saying, "I'm 100% focused on this fight, and I can talk about other fights later." Maybe that's why he's talking about it today, because I said I'm not ready to discuss other fights. Alal Shik had previously expressed his eagerness to make this fight happen. As I've said before to ASN, I gave him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it. Sheikh commented, hinting at the potential blockbuster nature of a Crawford versus Alvarez bout. He even sent an official offer to Canelo to fight Terence Crawford, should Crawford win his next bout.
Crawford, because he move a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw Crawford the last fight and he don't move that much now. So yeah, if the money is right, I mean, why not?
How you think he did at that weight, at 154? How you think Crawford did?
You know, they are a weight class for a reason. And you need to ask him. It's different. I know in his mind he think he can do whatever he wants because he's very talented fighter. He's a very good fighter. I like how he fight, but that's why there are.
If not Crawford, then I want Virgil Ortiz versus Crawford, Sheikh added, showing his flexibility in crafting a major fight. At this stage of his career, Canelo Alvarez is making decisions primarily based on financial offers. During a recent media interaction, Canelo stated he would need a $150 million offer to consider a fight with Terence Crawford. If Turki Alak or any promoter meets this financial demand, I'm ready to step into the ring, Canelo declared confidently. Canelo recently revealed that Turki Alak reached out to him this week, proposing a fight against Terence Crawford.
I'm 100% focused on this fight, and I can talk about other fights. Maybe that's why he talked about that today, because I say I'm not ready to talk about other fights. And I don't really ask him for anything.
For next February. However, Canelo declined to discuss the fight, emphasizing that his current focus is on his title defense against Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. Whether Canelo and Alal Shik will revisit this potential Crawford fight later remains uncertain, especially with such high financial demands at play. In a surprising twist, the deal fell through, and Canelo versus Crawford remains a dream fight for fans. Following this development, Alal Shik took to X, formerly Twitter, to announce a shift in his promotional focus. Sheikh detailed his future strategy, revealing that he recently concluded an important meeting with his team to plan for upcoming fights in 2024 and 2025. "I decided to disregard the Canelo fight as I don't want it anymore," Sheikh stated, adding, "I will be focusing on the US market with bigger fights, especially for the legend Crawford." This marks a significant change in Sheikh's promotional approach, as he now sets his sights on the US market, particularly on bouts involving Terence Crawford.
Do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean,
$100 million. I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
In response to Sheikh's statements, Canelo Alvarez clarified that he was not actively seeking a fight with Crawford anyway. Instead, Canelo suggested that Teofimo Lopez might be a more deserving opponent. He reiterated that his current focus is on his immediate fight, and he remains determined to control the terms and timing of his future bouts. Alal Shik emphasized respect but made it clear that he insists on controlling his career decisions. He stated that any collaboration must be on his terms.
They text me yesterday if we want to meet, they have the opportunity to meet here to talk about the next fight, and I say, look, I'm focused 100% on this fight. I don't want to talk about any
terms, saying, "I'm not asking for that fight. I think Teofimo Lopez deserves it more than me." My response to Turkey is this: yesterday, they texted me to talk about the Crawford fight in February, and I said I'm not going to discuss any other fight. I'm 100% focused on this Edgar Berlanga fight. I respect Turkey, but if he wants to work with me, it needs to be my way. On the other hand, some professionals believe that this move might be driven by Crawford's recent performance against Israel Madoff on August 3rd. Despite winning by unanimous decision, Crawford faced criticism, leading to speculation that moving up several weight classes might be challenging as he ages.
Turkey said he's no longer you're no longer in the running of working with him for the Crawford fight.
I don't really care about it. Look, I'm focused 100% on my fight, and I don't really care about it. They called me yesterday. They text me yesterday if it's possible to talk about our Crawford fight for February or meet to yesterday here in Los Angeles with him, and I say, look, I'm 100% focused on this fight, and I can talk about other fights. Maybe that's why he talked about that today, because I say I'm not ready to talk about other fights, and I don't really ask him for anything. I'm good.
And that's fair, Canelo. You've earned the right. You've earned the right to dictate your career and what you want to do. You've earned the right.
Yeah. Look, I'm good with that. I'm doing. I don't need that kind of things. I'm not looking for that kind of fights. If they want the fight.
Canelo, reflecting on Crawford's bout, suggested that Crawford's style change might make a future fight between them more feasible. Canelo Alvarez shared his thoughts on a potential fight with Terence Crawford, emphasizing the challenges posed by Crawford's fighting style. I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because they move a lot, and the fight is not that great, Canelo explained. I saw Crawford's last fight, and he didn't move that much now. So yeah, if the money is right, I mean, why not? When asked about Crawford's performance at 154 pounds, Canelo acknowledged the difficulties of moving up in weight classes. There are weight classes for a reason, and you need to ask him how he feels, Canelo said. In his mind, he
would have been able to press the envelope in spots where Madrimov didn't. And to me, I think Canelo beats Crawford because good big man beats good little man most of the time. So I think that's how that fight would go. Nothing against Crawford. I still think Crawford's still the pound for pound right now. But, you know, that would be biting off more than he could chew, in my opinion. After watching his lack of pop versus Madrimov, I don't think he can hurt Canelo or scare Canelo into respecting anything that he's throwing, you know, after the, first half of the fight.
He thinks he can do whatever he wants because he's a very talented fighter. He's a very good fighter, and I like how he fights. But that's why there are weight classes. After Canelo demanded $150 million or declined the offer that Turkey had made to him, Turkey didn't take it lightly. He took to X, formerly Twitter, to respond to Canelo Alvarez's statement about respecting him but disliking his business approach. Alal Shik made it clear that Canelo's respect was not a concern for him, focusing instead on the principles guiding his promotional efforts. He wrote, "I heard what Canelo said, that he respects me but doesn't like the way we do."
A Canelo versus Terence Crawford fight?
I don't think so. I think that he's much too much weight for Terence. His style was difficult. People will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrimov. I think 168 is much too big for Terence, but like he said, if the money's right.
Business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. With a reported net worth of $250 million, Canelo Alvarez remains in a position where he cannot be pressured into fights unless he is satisfied with the financial terms. While he would consider fighting Crawford, he made it clear that he would only do so if his conditions were met, reflecting his strong...
I understand if it did happen, it would be a big event because you have arguably the pound for pound #1 against the biggest star, two different sorts of fan bases, so it would be a big event. But from a in the ring perspective, I never really thought much of the match, and I'm more convinced of that now after
stance on financial and contractual negotiations in his career. Alal Shik further explained that his business model prioritizes arranging major, fairly priced fights, suggesting that Canelo's criticism stemmed from a preference for easier matchups. He then said, "As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it, because I only target big fights at fair prices. So of course, anyone..."
Madrimov was doing his thing, man. I think the judges got it right. 115, 113. It was a close fight. Very close fight. Crawford had issues. He had issues closing the distance. He had issues with Madrimov's footwork, the feints, the upper body movement. Like Madrimov never stopped moving his upper body. It was like perpetual movement. It's hard to really pin down fighters when they do that. And Madrimav's strong.
Who likes easy fights won't like that. Referencing Canelo's past loss to Dmitry Bivol, Sheikh suggested that since then, Canelo has sought less challenging opponents. He emphasized that he was not the one avoiding top-tier fights with contenders like David Benavidez or Terence Crawford. Alal Shik criticized Canelo Alvarez for what he perceived as excuses to avoid tougher fights, particularly in the context of negotiations for a potential fight with Terence Crawford. Alal implied that since Canelo's loss to Dmitry Bivol, he has been seeking easier matchups. Ever since that loss to Bivol, he's been looking for easier fights. Alal remarked, "I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford." Although the exact financial terms were not disclosed, it is rumored that Canelo's asking price for a fight with Crawford was $150 million, a figure comparable to the $240 million Floyd Mayweather Jr. earned for fighting Manny Pacquiao. Given Crawford's commercial appeal, such a fight could potentially generate substantial revenue to meet both fighters' financial demands. However, Alal Shik criticized Canelo for making what he saw as unrealistic financial demands, which he believed were mere excuses to avoid tougher bouts. "I knew he was wasting our time with big amounts of money that can't be paid," Turki Alak wrote. Concluding his statement, Alal Shik reaffirmed his commitment to organizing major, meaningful fights that benefit the boxing world, contrasting this with what he perceived as Canelo's preference for easier, more spectacle-driven bouts. "I'm continuing